Didn't you start off as a joint manager at Charlton?
Yeah.
So did you pawn off some of the hard work to your joint manager, the co-manager,
no,
Mr. Griff?
It was interesting because we had to sit down and decide how we was going to do this. What happened was, I was first team player coach with Lenny Lawrence. Lenny Lawrence was trying to sign Alan Kernigan from Middlesbrough, who he had on loan. And while he was talking to Steve Gibson offered him the job, Lenny Lawrence. So Lenny just went that summer and just left the club. And I was first team coach and Steve Gritt was reserve team coach. So the owners just give us the job, basically.
That's amazing, though.
Yeah, but I said earlier, we'd just gone from Selhurst Park, where we've been for 5 years, and we're just now playing at Upton Park. You know, we had no ground, no manager, and 14 players. And funny enough, Lenny's last thing he done was sign Johnny Bumstead. And Johnny's come from Chelsea, and he's coming to see me and Gritty and going, well, what's happening? Yeah. And like, I knew John a little bit. I went, no, John, you're all right with us. Like, you know, we just get in here and whatever. But we decided that we'd do two press conferences on the spin. So I'd have an home game and an away game. I didn't want it that one of us had 2 home games where you might win and the other one had 2 away games where you might not be so successful. And if the chairman phoned, we had to get our story straight. You know, we was joint managers, so if he phoned on Friday and said, what's the team? We'd have to make sure we decided what the team was on a Thursday. Because if he got me, I'd have to tell him. And if he got Gritty, he'd have to tell him.
Yeah.
We couldn't be contradicting ourselves. We got called Tweedledee, Tweedledum in the press and everything else. It was unique, but it happened a couple of other places. I think it happened at Spurs.
Liverpool?
At Liverpool. It happened at Spurs with Ray Clements, I think, and Livermore, I think. I can't remember.
You guys lasted about 4 or 5 years together.
No, we
I mean,
lasted 3 years.
3 years, okay.
3 years. And in all fairness, the chairman got fed up with it. It was because we evolved and we had a new chairman from when we took over. A guy come in, put money in, and he decided that he wanted to make a change. And he come to me and said, look, I'm going to make a change and I'm going to offer you the job. But if you don't want it, I'm not going to give it to Steve. And Steve knows this. He said, I'm going to go somewhere else, right? So what do I do? So I phoned up the league managers. And it was Jimmy Smith was the chairman at the time. He was my old manager at Birmingham. And he said, take it, you know. And I said, well, Steve's a Charlton player. Boy, he's been there forever. And he went, no, if they look after Steve, whatever. So I actually told Steve. I actually phoned him up and said, I need to talk to you. And I told him, this is what's happening. And if I don't take it, we're both out. So I was left in the middle.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a difficult time for me. And as I say, when the first couple of games, I was like not the Charlton boy. I've been at West Ham and elsewhere, but Steve was the Charlton boy. So it was a little bit difficult when I first started off. And then we got ourselves back to the Valley, which was a massive thing for us. And then it went from there. But no, I never gave Steve the dirty jobs to do.
No.
I gave him one day. The game we went back to the Valley, we was playing Portsmouth. And we decided, we had Darren Pitcher, who was a right back, who used to be aggressive. And we needed a bit more of that in the middle of the park. And so we decided that Gritty would go right back, Pitcher would go in midfield, and we'd leave Adam Pardew out, right, who was our first signing, right, from Palace. It was our first signing. So we left Pards out, it was you can imagine how angry he was. And then we're doing a bit of, not shadow, but 11 versus 11. And Pards is trying to do Gritty. He's trying to, you know, he wants to, because, you know, he thought that if Gritty was out, then Pitcher go back to right back and he'd come back in. And he's never forgiven me, I don't think, Pards, ever since. Mucking about, But it was a big decision. And, you know, we made it. And, you know, we had to make sure that we got our stories straight. If the chairman asked why.
Stories straight. It sounds like criminals.
Well, yeah, because if he phoned up and got, say, Jody, it might tell him a different thing.
5.
As opposed to what I told him.
Yeah.
So we had to make sure, and in front of the players, we had to make sure that if Steve won the day, which he did a couple of times on team selection, I'd have to go with it. You know, I couldn't stand there going, I'm happy with that.
So you said Gritty was right back.
So
he was a play when he was.
He was player coach, and I was as well.
Right.
I played about 10 games.
Oh right, I didn't.
While we was player coach.
You went back to Charlton as a player coach initially with Lenny Lawrence,
I went back
right?
as player coach, first team player coach.
Yeah.
Steve was reserve team player coach, but when I was with Lenny in his final season, I played about 10 games.
That's
And then Gritty was playing as well. And then when we both took over, I think I played about 3, and Gritty played more because he was more athletic than me.
I didn't realise that.
Crazy,
You were
right?
both,
Yeah,
both
we was both
playing.
player coaches, yeah.
Yeah.
But we had when we took over, we had 14 players.
Did you ever have to flip a coin to make a decision because you couldn't agree?
Yeah,
You did. Literally flipped a
yeah,
coin.
yeah. Because we had to be fair with each other, you know. And as I say, in front of the players especially, you know, say we were leaving a player out, we both had to do it. Both had to be there, you know. But I was asked earlier about my time at Charlton, 15, 16 years. The first 18 months at Upton Park, I remember fondly because we had fantastic senior pros. Bob Boulder, Steve Gattin, Johnny Bumstead, Colin Walsh. You know, players that you, bit like you could just say that's what we want, and it'd be done. Robert Lee and other players. So we was lucky. We inherited a real senior squad that just got on with it, playing at Upton Park. You know, for 18 months.